Okay, so hello to you all. I'm making this video because I'm going to release soon a new update for the Scalper system. As you may know already, the Scalper system in general, it was supposed to be used with 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, but yeah, you can go maybe for 10 as well. However, in general, the best settings I noticed that they tend to be with 1, 3 and 5 minutes. As you may know, in the past, this system was working amazingly when you have a fully defined bullish market, and in that moment we had a series of operations that we had to follow in order to use it. In that case, for example, we were using an entire history that we have, for example, with 1 minute, and if at the end of those 2 or 3 weeks of data that we have certain parameters that are going to go according to our criteria, then we were going to use the system for like 1 day, half a day, 2 days, depending on the market in general is working. So yeah, when you have a bull market, these things are in general easier to be done. However, the problems are coming in case we are going to have a bear market or a side market. So in those situations, I made the new changes into it. Now, for example, in the system, we also have the possibility by using the same criteria that we have for the long, but of course we are going to use the vice versa, and we are going to be able to enter in a short entry. As you may know already, or maybe you might not, this system is fully made, by looking at the volume trades and the volume quantity that we have, from the buyers and the seller. And based on that, we are going to enter in a long or in a short trade. From my testing in general, the volume tends to be the best instrument and the best tool that we can use, when we are using a short time frame. Also, we can adapt and use some moving averages as well, but they tend to give, far more fake out trades, and they are going to give us, a good profit factor, but also we are going to have a much lower win rate with it. So now, if we are going to have a fully defined short trend, I will recommend to activate the short entries as well. So as you may know, from the past, the way we are using, we take a pair or something like that, from the entire history. Like for example, we will take this one. So in this case, for example, we will look at the last 22 days. We can see in the last 22 days we had 33 trades. We had an 80% profit, a 2.7 profit factor, so a less than 20% drawdown, a very good net profit drawdown ratio. So in this case, this would be like a candidate asset, for ourselves, for using, for our testing. So now the new change that I implemented and that I also recommend on top of this one that you can use, for your trades. So we have the calculus system, and you may know, the calculus is based on volatility, and it's our best product, more than best, I would say, is the safest and the most stable product that we have. The reason is that we are using, a big time frame, so we kind of eliminate most of the noise, from the market, and in general, when we have periods of side market, it's not going to affect us so much because we are going to be already inside the trade. However, there are going to be moments, of course, when we can, we can get screwed by those movements. Like for example, we had unfortunately in the end of February, in the beginning of March, when we had a lot of ups and downs, in a short amount of time. So unfortunately, we cannot do nothing against that. However, speaking about calculus, the way I look into it, lately, as you may already know, I am looking a lot in the stocks as well. And I noticed, that when we have the main indicator, or better said, when we have the main asset, like in this case, we would have Bitcoin because it represents almost half the entire crypto market. And in general, if Bitcoin goes up, the altcoins are following as well. Or if Bitcoin goes down, most of the alts as well are going to follow, the same direction. And I noticed, by my trades that the way that we can combine the scalper with the calculus is going to be the next one. So that in this case, calculus, we are using a 4-hour system, and in case of scalper, we are using 1 minute system. So I always recommend in general, even though we are using a short time frame, like 1 or 5 minutes, I will always recommend to be aware of the big trend, like where are we right now, what's our position. And calculus can be a very, very great helper for us in this situation. So let's take this scenario. So you can see that in 4th of February, for example, in the calculus right here, we had a long entry. I'm not going to care, how this trade perform or whatsoever, but we have this entry. So I noticed that when we have a long, and I'm going to show you both for long and the short. So we have a long entry, on the BTC, and we have this entry, it's on 4th of February. So what we are going to do, I'm going to take this pair, or whichever, like for example, I will take GTO, but unfortunately with 1 minute, you can see we only go until 7th of March. So I'm going to use 5 minutes instead of 1 minute to have this data. And then the next thing that I'm going to do, our entry was on 4th of February. So I'm going to go on 5th of February here, and I'm going to trade only for 2 days, 2 or 3 days. Because if I see big changes in the, in the calculus, like for example, where I'm going to have a continuation, I'm going to allow it. Like if you are entering that long and I see that the long trend is still going on, I'm going to allow it. If I see, a sharp decline or something like that, then I'm going to automatically turn off the scalper. But for the sake of this test, I'm going only to use 2 days of data. So we are going to go from the 5th of February and we are going to stay until the 7th of February in this case. And we are going to go only long because it's a long entry, the one that that we have. So in this case, 2022 and 7 to 2022. Okay, so we are here from why did I enter 5-2 7-2 2022. There we go. So we can see in this scenario we have 2 entries, and those 2 entries you can see we enter on 5. You can see that on the day of 5, can we enter here? Yeah. You can see that the first entry that we had, it was on 4th of February. So in this case, if we would enter on 5th of February, you can see that we would hit the first take profit that we have. And yes, for example, if we would go until 7, you can see after that we also have, this other trade, and we will end up, with a small loss, but we will be in profit. Let's take another trade. Let's take, for example, SKL. You can see in case of the SKL, it's happening the same stuff. So we are going to have an entry on the beginning of 5, and we are going to have a win. You can see the same stuff. Rune, you can see that in case of Rune, for example, in this scenario, we are going to have even more winnings. AVE, 1 win. Comp, you can see 1 win. CHS, 1 win, well, multiple wins. Coco. So my point is that in this case, for example, it doesn't matter which crypto pair I'm going to take, because of the high correlation that we have in the crypto market. And if Bitcoin, is going to have a big volatility explosion and it's going to go in a certain direction, automatically, the alt pairs are going to follow. So in this case, you can see that if we are going to continue, we see that the market is going in that direction, then we can go on the scalper and we can assure ourselves at least 1 or 2 trades, like in that direction, even though they are small. But yeah, it's better than nothing, and it's far more safer because we are taking into account the big movement that is coming, from the 4 hours. And we can see in this case, I'm changing nothing. I'm having the same settings for everything: a 3 length for the volume and a 5 take profit and a 9 stop loss. So yeah, it doesn't matter which pair I take. Look, for example, Dusk. This one was not working so good, but Neo, Ata, Tomo, most of them, they are going to have at least 1 win. Most of them, they are going to have the same win initially. On 5, you can see most of them, they are going to have the same win. And now let's try the same stuff, but in the other way. Let's go, for example, we can go more recently. I'm going to test it twice. So we can see that in case of the Bitcoin, we have on 28th of December, we have a short entry. So let's go on 28th of December. I don't know if we have the data. Let's check if we have the data with the 5 minutes. If not, we are going to go the other one. So we go on 29th of December in this case. And again, I'm going to trade for like 1 day. So 1/1/21, 22. So in this case, we are going to go for short. So 29th, 12. But unfortunately, we don't have the data. But yeah, let's increase it a little bit. Let's increase it to last 7 minutes. With 7 minutes, I think we are going to have it. So you can see right now, we are performing short entries. We are not performing long. So we are going to go there. So you can see we have the entry on 28 on Bitcoin, So you can see the entry was kind of here, but after that, because I see no change in the calculus whatsoever, I'm going to enter on 29. And we can see that the first entry that we had, it would be 29. We can see that it's going to let that in a win. And after that, we are going to have actually another one. So we are going to have, for example, 2 wins in the same day. Even though it's coming, half a day later after we receive the calculus signal. So we can see in this case that we can scalp also short trades, not just long trades, by following this scenario. Let's take another moment in the past. Let's look, for example, at I don't know if we have data for 4th of December. This would be 4th of December. So we are going to enter on 5. Probably this one is going to be a lose on the 5th of the December, and we are going to trade until 7th of December of 2021. Yeah, in this case, for example, we have no data for the short. But if I am taking, for example, a little bit more, 8, 9, 10, no, we don't have unfortunately any data here. But yeah, because of this, let's go with the 5 minutes back, and let's go with more recent. Let's go with 18 February, and we can see the short entry that we had here on 18 February. So we go on 18.2, 22, and we are going to trade for 1 day, 2, 22. And we can see in 1 day, and in this case, we are going to go the same stuff on 18, and we can see on the 18, we are going to have multiple entries, but yeah, the first two are going to be wins. And let's take multiple pairs. Let's take GTO, you can see wins. SKL, in this case, we would have 2 wins and 2 losses, unfortunately. Rune, it would give us a profit. AVE, it would give us a profit. Com, not so much. CAZ will give us a profit. Coco, not. Mover, yes. Wave, yes. Mid, yes. Ren, yes. So you can see, yeah, we are going to have losses, but most of them, if I'm going to take only 1 trade, you can see that all of them, the first trade is going to be a win. So you can, when you have the indicator from the calculus, like when you have a long entry or a short entry, the next day, if the market continues in direction, and most of the time that is going to happen, at least 60 to 70% of the time, you have a very high chance to net yourself 1 win with the altcoins, So this is a much safer approach, which can be done, with the scalper. Yeah, of course, you can make, other type of trades and so on. But yeah, look, for example, let's take this one of, again, this it would be 28th of February. So let's go on 28th of February. This one is going to be for long. So in this case, we will have 28th of February, and we are going to trade until 103. Yeah. So look at this difference. So we have the entries with the long from the calculus, and we can see, unfortunately, because we have 4 hours, we had a big change in a short amount of time, and we actually ended up in a negative position with this long that we have from calculus on Bitcoin. However, you can see on the 28th, maybe it's a mistake from my side, because we can see that it was at 28.17. So in order to be correct, I'm going to put 29.12. But yeah, how can I put 29.12? But yeah, let's not take into account this one, but we can take, for example, this one, because the entry was at 17 hours, and you can see in the upper screen we have 17 hours, and this one need to be after the entry, so we would have at least 1 win. But yeah, maybe if you want, instead of 28, let's take a look, for example, at March, but probably, it's going to be the same day, during the same day, so 1-3, like 2-3. So yeah, we are going to have, for example, we are going to look at one entry only. You can see lows, win, lows, in this case, wins, and this without taking it into account. I'm looking at all the at all the pairs. But overall, I'm going to tell you that if you are going to take an average among all of them, you are going to end up in profit because of this correlation that we have. Look, for example, this one Fed, it would be in this period of time, like we have from 1 to 2, like we have from 28, and we have the exit on 5. So from 1 to 2 it will be this period. And we can see that in this case, for example, this one, it will not a lot of wins. There, of course, we are going to have others, like they would have no movement. But yeah, most of the times, I can tell you, percentages speaking, 60 to 70% is going to net you a profit. So yeah, let's take a look, for example, at the last one. No, the second last one. Let's take a look, for example, at 10th of December. 10th of March. So we are going to take the entry from 11 for short. So let's take a look at 11th of March for short, and we are going to trade for 2 days. And we can see, for example, in this one, it will end up a profit. So you see the entry. You can see that the entry came after we take a look at the calculus. So, but yeah, let's take a look at other pairs. This one, you can see GTO, it will net us a win, SKL a win, Rune, for example, in this case, it will destroy us. But yeah, this is also would be normal, because I don't know if you paid attention to that moment, but Rune in those moments kind of gained like a 100% movement. So it would actually be a very, very risky trade, you know, to very risky asset to trade in those moments. You also have to take, you have to be aware, better said, you know, of the general picture. So yeah, Coco, this one loss. Coco look like it would be a big loss as well, unfortunately. Mover, Meat, Friend, Koti, you know, Dusk, but you can see most of them, you know, they're going to be, yeah, you're going to have losses, but most of them, if you notice, you know, they will end up in profit. So yeah, you can scalp, you know, like, but it's all about being patient. Because if you notice with this system, if you want to go for this system, you'll have to wait for the big movement coming from calculus. And in general, the calculus movement, if you take into account, we have 68 candles, 68 multiplied by 4. So we would have 272 hours, and this one we divide by 24. So we have in general a position, we are staying in a position for 10 days on average, 10 to 11 days. So yeah, you would have a possibility every 10 or 2 days. But imagine you make 2 or 3 of them a month, you know, you are going to end yourself up with a 10-15% profit, just like that, you know, just like that. Sometimes less, sometimes more. But let's be conservative, 10% a month. 10% a month each month, you know, it doesn't matter if the market is going to go up or down. So yeah, I believe, you know, I believe it can be a great asset, you know, if it's going to be used this way. So yeah, I'm going to publish now the update. I'm going to alert, I'm going to put the alert as well for this one, and I'm going, you know, to message you all in the chat and let you know about the update. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, and if there are any other questions, you know, let me know. Yeah, but maybe, you know, some of you are interested, are going to be new potential others, you know, to this system. You know, all of this, you can take a look at the traderlife.com, and if you take a look in the traderlife.com, you can see that both of them, you know, for example, in this case it would be the strategy is the scalper. So in this case it would be this system, and the other one is calculus. So both of them, you know, they can be available both with Diamond and Maximus systems. So yeah, if there are any questions, let me know. I hope you enjoy, and see you next time. Bye bye.